Hey guys! This video might end up being a little bit long. I've continued to restart it because I don't want to make it in, super like 15 minutes, but uh, I don't know. I'm really interested in the stuff I'm about to tell you guys, so I guess bear with me. Obviously, I mean, you can stop whenever you want to. Okay, so the first thing, in my intercultural class today, we talked about classism, and the first video that we watched was mostly about bread and how the darker the bread you buy, the richer you are, the higher the class you are. And I thought that was really interesting because, like, my parents, they never bought white bread. The first time I had ever had white bread was once I got here to college and had it in the dining center because it's bad for you. It's not that healthy. So, I mean, we always bought wheat bread, but I never realized, I mean, I knew this, but I guess the video kind of put it into perspective. White bread is so much cheaper. And because not that much goes into making it, they're able to make bigger loaves of it, more of it for cheaper. And so that's how people are able to buy 99-cent loaves of white bread. And so I guess the point of the video was there was a community and one of their main grocery stores had closed down. And so there were two propositions to either build a co-op or to build this other like chain grocery store. And most of the people in the community were really upset that they wanted to build a co-op because the everything there is more expensive and it's all like considered organic. It's like hippie food. And I guess for people who don't really know what a co-op is, which I didn't, it's like Trader Joe's, if you know what that is, where all the food in that store is that store's brand, and a lot of it is organic, very, I guess, like all natural kind of things. And so the people in the community, I don't want to have to pay $5 for a loaf of bread that has, 10 slices where I can pay 99 cents for a loaf of bread that has 25. And so they showed different like city hall meetings and things, and people were getting so heated. And I guess it's interesting because, I mean, I guess I'd consider myself to be middle class or upper middle class. And I mean, we shop where we have the coupons for things. We shop where, the things are going to be the best price for the value. But I mean, we still, I don't know. I guess I just never really thought of people needing to, or only having the means to shop at one place where things are going to be the cheapest. I mean, because my parents will go to Target for one thing, go to Cub Foods for another thing, go to Whole Foods for this, go to Trader Joe's for this. And granted, I mean, all of these places have relatively the same things, but you just go where things are cheaper. Anyway, I just thought it was really interesting. And so there's this whole idea about bread classism, and so how people can tell how well off you are based on the kind of bread that you buy. So I thought that was interesting. And then the second half of the video was about this mom, and she lived in a trailer in the absolute middle of nowhere. And her son was very embarrassed by where they lived. He dressed nicer because he didn't want his friends at school to know where he came from. But the mom did not care. She worked at Burger King, and she actually had to walk 10 miles, 10 and a half miles to get to her job. And I mean, that easily could take a person about 4 hours, which I thought was, I mean, that's insane determination. So she would walk 10 and a half miles to get to her job. But I guess the point was she came from a family that had 22 kids. And her dad, I guess, worked really hard, but they never really moved up from being considered low class. And she didn't really care. She just knew that that was where she was going to be for the rest of her life. And her son was very, I'm going to go to college. I'm going to be a lawyer. I want to make better for myself than living in this rundown trailer. And the mom was really upset by that. She said, I hate that my son thinks he's better than me, and I hate that he's trying to show me up all the time. And I feel like if I were poor, if I were from a low income family, like, I'd want to move up. And if I had children while living as a low income parent, like, I'd want them to do better than me, and I'd want them to move up and out. And I mean, it's difficult. They say, I guess it's like 80 something percent of people stay in the class that they were raised in, because it can be hard to, I guess, to change, especially, and we talked about how does money define class? And granted, we can say, money isn't everything and stuff, but if you think about it, I mean, you need money to do anything. And yes, with education, you can get scholarships, but if you come from such a long, I mean, they didn't have a computer. So they obviously, they didn't have internet, they didn't have a television, so they didn't have ways of, I guess, learning about what opportunities there were. So if you don't have ways to find out about scholarships, about Pell Grants, then you can't get them. And so, I mean, I'm assuming that the son, looked stuff up when he was at school because he was talking about how long it would take him to become a lawyer, how long it would take him to become this and that. But I mean, the mom really did not want him to go to college. She really did not want him to end up being better off than her. And I think part of that was the idea that he would leave and never come back. And so I think that kind of scared her because she relied on him. She spent entire days like walking to work, being at work, and walking home. And so he was the one taking care of the house, who took care of his siblings, and it was just, I don't know, it was really interesting. And then we had an in-class discussion, and so one girl said that she believes that class is what you do with your means. So like working with what you have and how well you work with it. And I turned to the girl next to me and I said, but I think that's something that rich people say. Like if I were poor, I wouldn't say, if I were of a lower income, but I worked well with what I had, I wouldn't consider myself high class or upper class. You know what I mean? And so I just thought it was interesting that she would say that because, I don't think that that's something someone from a lower class would say. So I don't know. I mean, oh, this is getting so long, you guys. I'm sorry, but it's just, I don't know. I really actually enjoy this intercultural class just because it's providing me with, a lot of it does seem like common sense, but it's not something that you don't just sit down with a friend and say, hey, let's talk about classism. Like, you know what I mean? And so it's really fascinating. And so hopefully the fact that it's interesting will mean I can get a good grade in class. But anyway, I don't know if you guys have any thoughts about classism at all. I mean, I don't know. I just think it's interesting. And oh, another girl said that she had friends who were very well off, but they would downplay it. So they would only suggest activities that their lowest income friends could afford to do, and they would dress in a way that gave them the appearance of being like middle class because they didn't want people to think that they thought they were conceited or that they were, better than everyone else because of the money that they had. And it's interesting because I feel like a lot of people do that. Like, my parents are paying for me to go to college, but that's not something I walk around and just say. And I try to avoid talking about college expenses because I feel like people are going to assume, oh, well, she doesn't have to work hard for anything because her parents just pay for everything. And it's kind of frustrating because I've had a job since I was 16. I understand what it means to make money and use it for things. I mean, my parents pay for my tuition and they pay for my living expenses, but anything else I need, it comes from my own pocket, like groceries, anything for school, everything in my apartment, and like in my dorm last year was all me. I paid for all of it. And like it's just kind of frustrating because I feel like the assumption is that the higher class you are, the higher level like the more upper class you are, the less of a hardworking attitude you have, because it can appear as though everything is handed to you. But I don't know. It's just, and then, so obviously when you think of people like that, you think of them to be very conceited and to be very full of themselves. And so I avoid as much as I can to talk about those things just because I don't want people to think, because I don't feel as though I'm a conceited person. I try not to be. I try not to come off like I'm better than anybody else. But I mean, if that's an assumption people have, I would hope that they would at least bring it to light so that I can readjust my attitude because that's the last thing I want. Right, well, now that this video is 10 minutes long, I'm probably going to stop now. Oh, but I do want to say that I decided for my informative speech that I'm going to do gum. So I'm going to do like ancient forms of gum, the gum we know of today, and then how bubble gum is made. So I'm actually going to, hopefully get that done this week. I have an exam on Thursday, so I'll probably work on it after that. And then I want to do it for you guys. So I'll probably do it in a video and you guys can give me some critiques and some thoughts on how to make it better. Yeah, I guess that's all. I can't believe if you've made it this far, that's awesome, and you guys are awesome. And tomorrow's Weigh-In Wednesday. We'll see how that goes. Not too excited, but we'll see. And I guess that's all. I hope everyone has a great Tuesday. Oh my gosh. It's Tuesday. Can you tell I'm a little bit tired? Anyway, I'm gonna get to I have some Spanish I have to work on, and I'll talk to you guys later. All right, bye.